So welcome back to Six Cars, everybody, and welcome back to Germany again. So we are checking out a couple museums and a couple of big manufacturer factories today. We're starting off, as you can see, with Porsche in the background before heading to Mercedes. It'd be really interesting to see what cars they have on display here. There are some cars just outside, I think customer cars here at Porsche that are rolling out first. So I guess we'll take a quick look and see if there's anything interesting out here before heading into the main museum to see some of the really cool stuff. So I'm very excited to be here. I can't wait to show you guys around. So if you haven't already, the start of all of our Europe mayhem, make sure now you've hit subscribe, like, comment, and share. Yes, Why Was You Curator and Drive with Roy are still with us. Let's get to the action. And there we go, right outside the Porsche factory slash museum is a brand new 992.2 GT3, a car that I honestly don't think is that much different from the .1, but it is brand new. I don't know if this is like a brand new delivery and these are all people leaving with their new cars or not, but either way, it's the first one we have seen. Kind of cool, and caught it just at the right moment as it is about to leave with some other Porsches outside of the factory. So there we go. Obviously starting off with lots of different 356s. We have a 550 Spyder here, which is really cool. One of the nicest classic Porsches. Got some of the old 911s. Look at that, the original 911 police car cabrio, which is really cool. Just see all the different body styles. There is the 904 Carrera GTS, another great looking car. I think like early 60s, but I believe this one was done up for racing, and I don't know if I guess they made road car variants of it as well, but either way, it's a little bit different looking from your standard Porsche, obviously, but I think it's got that really nice, like, just classic 60s sports car racer look to it. Yeah, I think we've already hit my favorite section of this museum, the 917s. Probably the best known of like the classic Porsche Le Mans racers, and there's so many different variations of them, starting off with the LH Langhecke, which basically means long tail. So you can see it's much bigger at the back, more streamlined for the top speed runs at the Le Mans straight. Obviously got the wheels covered up there too, which is a nice little touch. You've got the classic Martini livery on it. Behind that, 917 KH, which as you can see, way different looking back end. They all seem to have pretty similar like front headlights or front end designs, though it's always the backs that seem to change the most on these cars. So obviously you've got a very radical wing that's built into the whole bodywork of the car, where on this one you just have the fins at the back. So very low drag on this one, and actually I do believe, yes, Helmut Marko, fans of Formula One right now would recognize that name as Red Bull's senior advisor. Very cool there. And this one has to be one of the most well-known race cars of all time, the Pink Pig. So the 917-20. This one has a lot more girth, or is much thicker than the other 917s. But obviously it's well known for this pink livery, which has all of the like butcher cuts that you would see on a pig. Literally, I don't know who actually sponsored this car, but it's easily one of the most insane and radical designs of all time on a race car. So special to see these three 917s all lined up in front of one another. This is so damn cool. I can't even tell you how excited I am to see these cars. And look at the back of the KH here as well. I mean, the whole back end is cut up. You can see obviously the exhaust and even the spare tire on the back of that car. So really cool. Just on the other side of the 917s, the original 911 Carrera RS 2.7 in a very classic livery, white with the green stripes, matching the green wheels. And there, look at that, 914. Fun fact, the first ever safety car used in a Formula One Grand Prix was a 914, and it was used at the Canadian Grand Prix at Mosport back in, I think, like the early 70s. So kind of a cool car. We have a one-of-one paint to sample GT3 RS here, and sort of like a mix between gold and silver. It's really interesting. Kind of one of those colors that changes in the light depending on which angle you look at. It's got a full roll cage in the back too, so it's obviously really cool to see all the customization you can do with Porsche. This is definitely one of the best examples I've seen so far. We've got a couple like RSR 911s here as well, which are really cool. This one in particular I absolutely love. It's just not too different from its road going counterpart there, the Carrera RS, but you see it's a bit wider and obviously just a bit quicker too for racing purposes. Really, really cool to see all of these cars stacked up beside each other. From the 917s, we got another very well-known classic Porsche racer, the 935. This one is the 78 version, codenamed the Moby Dick. It has the whale tail, obviously, which has a really just nice flow to it. You can see the arches going over the rear wheels, swooping down to that very long back end. It's a really unique and interesting rear wing design on this too. And it's got one of my favorite things about these classic race cars, the turbo fans over the wheels. I always love this. It's so nice to see those. They're making a comeback too on road cars as well. A lot of people are going for those on modified builds, but look at the back of this. It's so aggressive. And again, I do love on these old cars how everything is just exposed at the back end, seeing those big exhaust pipes sticking out. But this is easily one of the coolest silhouettes on a classic race car that we've ever seen. This is a really special display here. We have a 959, the Paris to Dakar rally car. In front of the road car, you can see just how much they had to change this for actual rally racing. So obviously these huge jacked up suspension, the massive tread tires, all the lights on top as well, racing in some pretty extreme conditions. So obviously they had to make sure it's up for the task. And after all, 959 was essentially built to compete as a rally car. So that is what gave inspiration to this right here, the road car, which was, I believe, one of the fastest, or the fastest, sorry, street legal car of all time. So yeah, it was a lot of history and obviously a very special car that is worth a ton of money nowadays. So there is the very, very different looking road car compared to the Dakar race car there. And 3 different versions of the 911 GT1 race car. In terms of the iconic cars from this old GT1 class, this one might be my favorite of all time. It is just so damn cool. And always what was very special about these ones is they were basically homologated road cars too. So if you had to race it in Le Mans, you had to also build it for the road. So there's 2 variants here. We have the original 911 GT1. Well, this is the Evo kit from 1997. The livery is pretty iconic. The Champion Porsche, they always had these multicolored sort of wisps and stripes all over the white bodywork. This one's from the American Le Mans series, so would have seen this race back in North America back in the day. And over here, 1998, we did have an updated version of it. So it was much longer at the back end as well as the front too. So yeah, Porsche has always kind of done these long-tailed versions of a lot of their race cars, the different evolutions of it. So we've got this one here in the plain livery, and we also have that Mobile One IBM car there too, which might be a Le Mans winner actually. Here's the original Porsche study concept car for the Boxster. So obviously this was pretty important because the Boxster has been a very, very good selling car for Porsche over the years, but you can see just how different looking this is from the final production version. The side exit exhaust is something I did not know was a thing on the study. That is really cool. We also had the fuel filler cap on the hood, which is sort of similar to what Singer does now with their reimagined Porsches. The back is really nice on this actually. I do like it's got like more hips than the actual standard road going Boxster. And inside, it's pretty interesting. Look at the shift knob, actually. It looks like something that the JDM guys do to their modified interiors. But this is, of course, the factory version, the Porsche concept car. And over here, we do have a 996 and some pretty fancy artwork. I think it is for the 50th anniversary of the brand. And interestingly enough, right-hand drive. So it's a bit different. Was not expecting that. And here we go, maybe the most important car in the entire museum. We have the 996 Sally Carrera from the Cars movie. How iconic is this? They actually went and built it. It's even got the smile on the front, the eyes on the windshield with the eyelashes too. This is hilarious. Yeah, but it's cool that Porsche really embraced the lore, or I guess if the following of the movie, and they actually went and built the car right down to the 1-to-1 scale. That is awesome. There's all of their many racing trophies here, obviously. By far, if not the winningest brand in pretty much like any motorsport discipline, I have to think. That is a pretty eclectic mix of trophies. You got the 24 Hours of Le Mans trophy sitting right there. Very cool to see that. You can pretty much find a bit of everything in there. And there we go. We've got a nice Carrera GT there as well in the classic launch spec. Always nice to see. And there we go, bar none, the coolest safety car we've ever seen. A 918 with the full lights on it. I don't know if they actually use this for an actual race. I'm sure this is just kind of like a show car that they made for fun. But either way, to see a hypercar, one from the Holy Trinity in full safety car, guys, with the working lights and everything, is pretty damn sick. We have a 911R over there as well, but behind it we do have the 919 hybrid. So a very successful Le Mans racer. Obviously it won 24 hours a few times, and it set that infamous lap record at the Nürburgring. So where they took all of the restrictors off of the race car and basically let loose and showed just how fast this car could really be. If you haven't seen that video yet, you guys are missing out. I would highly suggest watching that right after you're done here, because I think it was like 5 minutes and 14 seconds. It almost doesn't look real how fast they are going on that lap around the Nürburgring. But yes, obviously very special race car here again at the Porsche Museum. It's by far the highest optioned 911 GT3, or maybe any 911 you will ever see. This is a unique build called the Shark. So as you can see, the paint fades from dark to light towards from the top to the bottom, basically to look like a shark. That is literally what they're going for here. So I don't even know how much you'd possibly have to spend to get a paint job like that. Even the wheels, you can see has a bit of fade on them too, and multiple different colors on it. But if you look at the interior, I'll get up close to it in a second here, you can see all the blue and white accents on it, but it's even got these unique shark logos on the headrest and in the back seat as well. And it's all this blue and white two-tone running throughout the entire car, even down to the shift boot. And the steering wheel also has that two-tone effect. It's got a white roll cage on it, and even the wing, you can see multicolored as well. So I'm not even sure how much money, like I said, you would have to spend to get Porsche to do something like this, but it's outrageous. Small details, even the window trim is painted in the same color as the body, and also looks to have a bit of a fade as well, which is pretty remarkable that they were able to do this. Must have been a very special customer to get something like this, and now here it is displayed at the Porsche Museum. And here we have the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo. We actually did see this car back at the Toronto Auto Show. I think it was the 2024 edition. We did not see it in this weird art car livery though, and to be honest, back at the auto show it was behind some ropes. It was kind of hard to see in the interior as well. I think it might have been just a shell. But this one, you can clearly see the work interior, the same that you would obviously see if you play in cockpit view in the game. It's pretty wild to see. Even the dashboard, it's just like this sort of see-through effect. There's nothing really there with the dials and speedometers. It's quite interesting. I believe it's full electric too. Looks to have a full like canopy opening mechanism as well, so no doors. This is pretty radical, guys. I mean, if they put a combustion engine in it, I could definitely get on board with this thing. That is a very, very cool looking design. And if we thought Sally Carrera was cool, well, check this out, guys. We also have the full-sized Lego version of the 930 Turbo Lego model, which is pretty remarkable. I must say that they were able to do this at a full, a one-to-one full-sized car scale. Very, very interesting. So Porsche definitely is not afraid to try different things, and obviously, like I said, buy into the lore of some of the different toys and cartoons and collector items surrounding the brand. It's really, really quite interesting that they've gone and built this. I mean, there's comically huge wheels and tires and very skinny driving position. It's pretty hilarious, but very, very cool to see. Okay guys, so we finished up at Porsche, which was awesome, amazing time. Now we're having an even bigger museum. We are here at Mercedes. So this one should be really good. I've heard this one is absolutely massive, multiple floors. Pretty much every piece of Mercedes history is in this building. So let's just jump right into it and see what they have in store for us. So check this out, guys. You're instantly greeted by this really cool display. All these concept cars on pedestals, a little bit of everything. That purple van looks awesome. I'm not even sure what it is exactly. That looks to be like the early iteration of an S-Class coupe. Really interesting. Look at the wheels on that thing. It looks like the top of a tin can or something. It's really interesting. I believe we saw this car here actually driving around Monterey Car Week. It might be the one that has the rotary engine in it. This one is really interesting. This is like early version of like a Sterling Moss almost, it looks like. The front end, if you know the Lotus 340R, I think we've seen one actually on the channel, 340R back in Tokyo, but it kind of looks like this, how the front of the front tires is completely exposed, and obviously just a tiny little windscreen and not a full windshield on this car. But man, oh man, this is something else. Look at those rear taillights too, and inside kind of, I don't know, looks like a bit like an SLK, but man, that's a pretty wild design. And then up there have even more cars just literally stuck to the wall. This is a really cool entrance to the museum, guys. I'm actually very excited to see what they have in store for us today at Mercedes. And funky floor here, but yeah, I got the first cars ever made. I guess the patent motor wagon. Yeah, a bunch of old stuff from like the 1800s. Well, if anything, the displays here are immaculate. As you sort of pass through all the different areas, it seems all the rooms and the designs and the architecture changes. The whole building kind of feels like a sci-fi movie. It's really cool. But yeah, sort of into these wooden carriage cars, and yeah, like it's a chandelier hanging from the ceiling, still using lanterns for lights in this era. It's kind of funky. And here we're getting to stuff we're a bit more familiar with now. We've got the 300 SL section. So we've got the coupe in the classic silver with a nice red interior, white steering wheel as well. Very classy. One of the coolest cars ever built, bar none. I mean, the gullwing door is very famous. It's got the 300 SL Roadster as well. A nice red. Pretty traditional color for that car too, but yeah, obviously gullwing is the classic, the staple with those doors. So over here is the 300 SLR Uhlenhaut coupe. Someone can correct my German if that doesn't sound right. Either way, this is an incredibly special and important car because it is the most expensive car ever sold in the world, and it's not even close. The previous record holder was a 250 GTO, and this one blew it out of the water, 135 million euros. So basically, it was essentially built to go racing for Mercedes. They never actually ended up using it. I think there was only 2 of them ever built. So one sold to a collector, and this is the other one right here. So obviously, it is a closed-top version of 300 SLR. And yeah, you can see a very different front end. The back is much different as well. The exhaust just sticking out of the side is really cool as well. Very raw, unique design with that. But yeah, you can definitely see the back end is quite different too. I think the front might be a bit longer as well. But either way, this is really cool. They never actually ended up racing them, even though that's what they had originally built them for. But you can clearly see this was a very special car. I think the head of Mercedes ended up using this just for like a personal car to drive around in. Didn't end up racing, but still very special and extremely important car. There's the first 190E. Of course, the Evo 2 is really famous. I'm sure we'll be seeing that very shortly on another floor. And we have a 300 SD as well. I think this is like the first diesel car in the luxury car market, so kind of cool to see that as well. Yeah, lots and lots of history. Even this big old station wagon here with a really weirdly shaped rear glass. Actually, 2 special cars, the R129 SL, but this one's actually owned by Princess Diana, so that's pretty damn cool. You can tell it's right hand drive, so a UK car. And over here, this is the Pope Mobile, ladies and gentlemen, the coolest G-Wagon on the face of the earth. Look at that. These basically stick a giant box on the top of the truck, and yeah, the Pope stands up, waves to everybody on his tours, and there you have it. We've got the Pope Mobile, ladies and gentlemen. We look around the back here, you see all these gold accents all over. I don't know if it's actual gold. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It's rolling around the Vatican, so you gotta look the part, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not too surprising you got all the gold around the car, and even on the wheels too. That is pretty wild. You can see just how tall it stands above the rest of the car too. That glass display case that he basically stands in for his tours. And this SLK55, I'm just pointing it out because if you are a football or soccer fan, it was owned by Lucas Podolski. And if you saw my intro, or if you caught my shoulders, I am wearing an Arsenal jersey, so former Arsenal player, so kind of cool to see that. AMG GT concept car. This is quite interesting. Obviously, we've jumped way ahead into more modern times. But check out the grille on this thing. All these like little accents and details. The red matching obviously the exterior body color. The rims are really interesting too. This massive centerpiece finished in like orangish gold, match the ceramic brake calipers. Obviously it has the cameras for side mirrors, and it looks like this is electric too. So that's rather interesting. Obviously the AMG GT did eventually come into production. As we know, it is combustion powered, thankfully. That is a good thing. Well, if you like combustion powered cars, like most of the people on this channel, I would assume. There's another electric car though. This one is actually rather interesting, I do have to say. It's the SLS E-Cell. I think the launch color was like that bright green. Saw it way back in the day on Top Gear. I've not seen this one before, with this blue chrome accents in the front grille and the side mirror, and everything is obviously covered up, being electric. This one is actually kind of cool. This is one of the first like electric sports cars ever. Don't know if they even sold any, but really cool to see it. There's some really cool cars in this section, like the mid-90s or mid to late 90s, I think was a really cool time for Mercedes in terms of their designs. The E60 AMG, I think they're pretty damn rare to be honest, but I just love the look of this thing. This is just a classic Mercedes design. It looks fantastic, and it was quite fast for the time too. We do have a nice SL 500 over there. This is not the R63 AMG, but this minivan is pretty cool as far as family cars go. The R320 or the R class in general is a pretty nice design. If you've ever seen R63 AMG on the road though, that's a really special car. And as I mentioned before, when we saw the first 190E, we were likely going to see an Evo 2 here, and there it is right in front of us. So obviously a homologation special for Group A class racing, mainly in DTM. So it is way more extreme than that first 190E we saw. Obviously a ton of aero on it. We've got the wide body fenders on it, this giant box wing, which is absolutely iconic. It's so rare to see these cars being driven around these days because they've really turned into collector pieces. The values have absolutely skyrocketed. So again, if you see one of these driving around, extremely special. I think we've seen them obviously in Monterey Car Week. I think we saw a couple back in Tokyo as well. Other than that, really rare. Haven't really seen them at all. So cool to see that. And then we have another very fast Mercedes sedan, the E500. I believe this one was actually done in collaboration with Porsche, but bit of a sleeper compared to obviously the extremely aggressive 190E Evo 2. The E500 was still extremely fast too. I believe it was like over 300 horsepower, which for this time and this era, 1994, is really fast for a sedan. So really cool to see that. And there's a legend right there, the SLR Roadster. Doesn't matter how many times we see these, they never get old. This super long hood, just a classic design, and the sort of, I guess you'd call it like the fan wheels or the wind fans. That is just so iconic. Great to see one of these again, and it's nice that they're all finished in black too. It really goes with the whole theme here in the museum. Here's the bread and butter, ladies and gentlemen. We got a ton of race cars here. This is what we're talking about. Everything from an SLS GT3, a C63 DTM car. Look at that, couple Saubers, CLK GTR, just so much stuff. DTMs as well, like from classic eras, Formula One, race trucks, touring cars, you name it. So get up close to them in a second here and get a better look. There, we made our way down to the race cars. Definitely the coolest section of this entire museum. One of the coolest sections you see in any car museum for that matter. So there we go. There's the C63 DTM from a much newer era of the class, obviously. Nice to see Get Well Wicken sticker on this. I guess that was right after the unfortunate crash that he had. But look at this back here. Klaus Ludwig, obviously very famous. That livery is very famous too on this 190E Evo 2 DTM car. There's the SLS GT3 back there, CLK GTR. The Saubers up there, again, we saw one at the Furicon Corso, but some of the coolest cars of all time, and especially from that Group C era too, that produced so many legends. And here we go, we have a Lewis Hamilton Formula One car. This would likely be from, I want to say, around like 2020 or 2021. Yeah, 2020. So obviously his last championship winning year, when he's very dominant. Obviously, this was one of the fastest race cars ever built, bar none. So really cool to see that. There's a 1998 McLaren. Obviously, this was powered by Mercedes. That's why it is there. Another championship winning car. That one was with Mika Hakkinen. And there we go, we have another one. This one is a Penske Mercedes Indy car, so that's cool. And there we go, a couple race trucks up there as well. One of the coolest disciplines of motorsport in the world. That is not even a debate. That is just so cool to see those up there too. And so many great race cars here too. I believe this one is actually the only closed wheel Formula One car ever. I think this is Mercedes did this for Monza. It would have been a Juan Manuel Fangio car. Obviously trying to get top speed at the old Monza circuit on the high bank. So that is why they went for the streamlined look. And that's pretty much the only race that they ever did. Back there is another special car, the 722 for the Mille Miglia race in Italy. That is why we have the SLR 722s nowadays. That is the car that is paying tribute to over there. And yeah, you can see there's some more Juan Manuel Fangio era cars right here. Even more back here as well. You can see it just goes through a bygone era of motorsports. Some of these cars are well over 100 years old. So back to like the earliest days of motor racing. So cool to see all of these on display. And again, like I said, in the other rooms, the architecture and just the way they lay out the cars in this building is pretty spectacular, and it's no different here in the race car section, because it looks like it created basically a mock grid of all of their best racing cars.